Hey everyone, welcome to the show. You know how sometimes you drive through these small towns and they just seem so ordinary?
Right, like you could blink and miss them.
Yeah, exactly. But what if those seemingly sleepy towns were actually hiding these crazy supernatural secrets, Things that could totally upend your reality.
Oh, I'm all about those hidden depths. It's
Yeah,
like the best kind of story, right?
yeah,
Where the surface is just a mask for something much bigger.
totally. And that's kind of the vibe I got from Direct Descendant by Tanya Huff, which we're diving into today.
Yeah, this one's a real page turner.
Eh,
It's open fantasy, but with a delicious dose of mystery thrown in.
Yeah, like the kind of mystery that keeps you guessing until the very end.
Yeah.
So, basic rundown for anyone just tuning in. The story takes place in Lake Argen, this seemingly normal Canadian town.
Picture like charming streets, friendly neighbors, that whole small town vibe.
Exactly. But beneath that surface, there's this whole other world, this supernatural undercurrent that's been there for ever.
And we get to experience it all through the eyes of Cassie Prewitt, who's kind of your average, everyday woman.
She's a part-time baker, which I thought was really cool. It makes her so relatable.
Yeah, totally. And then suddenly she gets swept up in all this craziness. Like, there's this missing outsider, mysterious knife.
And all these whispers about this ancient force called the Dark that's tied to the town itself. It's spooky
And
stuff.
it really is. One of the things I really loved about Direct Descendant was how Huff slowly reveals the supernatural elements. Like, she gives you these little hints, these breadcrumbs that keep you hooked.
Yeah, like you're always on the edge of your seat waiting for the next clue.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Cassie's voice is just fantastic. She's witty, she's sarcastic.
And she doesn't take any of the supernatural stuff too seriously, which it's a nice touch.
Right. Like even when things get intense, she always manages to find some humor in the situation. It keeps the story from getting too heavy.
Totally agree. It's a good balance.
Now, full disclosure, there were a couple of things that weren't my absolute favorite. The mystery did take a while to pick up steam, which some readers might find a little slow.
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely more of a slow burn.
And while the whole mythology surrounding the town was fascinating, sometimes I wish the rules of the supernatural were a bit clearer. Like, what can the dark actually do? What are its limits?
I hear ya. There's definitely some ambiguity there.
But overall, I really enjoyed Direct Descendant. It's a creative, engaging read with a protagonist you can't help but root for. I give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars.
4 stars. That's a good rating. I'm with you on that.
Whoa.
So are we ready to delve into the specifics of the story?
Absolutely. Let's unpack this thing. Okay, so the story kicks off with Cassie going for her usual morning walk up to this lookout point. Just a normal day, right?
Yeah, just another day in Lake Argen, or so she thinks.
Right, because while she's up there, she sees something totally bizarre. This stranger, wearing a sheet, just disappears into the ground.
Poof. Gone. But not before he, stabs his own foot with a bloody knife. Talk about a dramatic exit.
Right. And it turns out this isn't just some random event in Lake Argen. It's the catalyst for a whole bunch of strange stuff that starts happening.
Yeah, there's all this talk about a barrier weakening, the local security being caught off guard.
And it's clear that the townspeople, they've seen weird stuff before. They're not freaking out like you'd expect.
It's more like, oh great, another Tuesday in Lake Argen. They're so used to the supernatural, it's almost mundane to them.
Right, like it's just part of life. And we're introduced to some of the key players pretty early on, like Aunt Jean and Bridget.
Who are part of this mysterious group called the Four.
Exactly. And they seem to be the ones who are responsible for dealing with all the supernatural shenanigans that go down in Lake Argen.
Bridget even casually mentions encountering a skunk at night, but in a way that suggests it might not have been a regular skunk.
Right, was it a shapeshifter, a demon in disguise? We don't know for sure, but it definitely adds to the eerie vibe.
And then there's this whole thing about midsummer being a time when things tend to get a bit hairy.
Yeah, it suggests that the supernatural stuff isn't random. There's a pattern, a cycle to it.
Like the town's on some kind of supernatural calendar.
Exactly. Okay, then we have Arthur, the motel owner. He's a bit of a recluse, not the friendliest guy in town.
But he's allowed to live just inside the town limits, probably because of some past connection to the dark. He's got history there.
Yeah, definitely some baggage. And his interaction with the missing stranger, Travis Brayden, is really important.
So important. Arthur notices Travis has all these fancy clothes and a wallet full of credit cards, but he only pays for one night at the motel.
Even though Arthur has a 5-night minimum, it's red flag city.
Right. What's this guy up to? What's his game?
And then, of course, they find all his stuff. The clothes, the credit cards, and that creepy bloodstained knife.
Speaking of creepy, Eric, another member of the four, makes this joke about Travis not skipping glute day at the gym.
It's so dark, but also kind of funny. Like, even in the face of a potential murder, these guys still have their sense of humor.
It's that blend of humor and darkness that makes Direct Descendant so unique, I think.
Absolutely. But getting back to the mystery, the fact that the dark hasn't, quote unquote, spoken since Travis disappeared is a big deal.
It's like the whole town is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next.
Cassie even jokes that maybe Travis hooked up with another dark, which is hilarious.
Yeah, it shows just how accustomed these people are to the idea of multiple darks running around.
Right, like it's not even a question for them. Then we meet Alex, who works at the bookstore. She figures out those weird gray pebbles they found are enchanted anchors for some kind of barrier.
And the enchantment isn't familiar, which means Travis brought it with him from somewhere else.
Like he's bringing outside magic into Lake Argen. And then there's the knife itself.
Oh man, that knife. Alex can't even decipher the runes on it. And she can't bring it into the archives because it messes with the books.
It's like the knife is radiating some kind of energy. Or maybe it's cursed.
Definitely bad vibes.
But get this. The sheet Travis was wearing is just a regular motel sheet.
That's so weird. Like, why go to all that trouble with the enchanted pebbles and the rune knife, but then just use an ordinary sheet?
It's one of those details that just makes you scratch your head.
Totally. And we start to see some interesting dynamics within the four. Like, Aunt Jean and Amanda are all about caution. They kind of want to just hope the problem goes away on its own.
But Eric is way more nonchalant. Like, he's either seen it all before or he knows something we don't.
Right. His attitude is so enigmatic, it makes you wonder what he's really thinking.
And the whole law enforcement situation in Lake Argen is interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, when Alta reports Travis missing, Constable Tate is basically like, meh, he'll turn up.
Even
Flirts
more-
with Cassie.
It's clear they're not taking it seriously at all. It's like they have their own way of handling things in Lake Argen.
They don't really need outside authorities when they've got magic and mystery on their doorstep every other day.
Right. Then we meet Travis's mom and grandma, who are obviously freaking out. They have no idea what's going on.
His mom can't even believe he'd be in Northern Ontario in the first place. It's so far from their world, you know.
And his grandma is just demanding answers, which, let's face it, nobody really has.
Poor lady. She has no idea. She's stumbled into a supernatural mystery.
So enter Melanie Solvich, a private investigator hired by the grandma to find Travis.
And from the moment she arrives in Lake Argen, she can sense that something is off.
Right. Even the waitress at the diner warns her that the town has a weird rep.
A weird rep is right. There's a raven that leaves a present on her car.
Ew. What kind of present?
You know, the kind birds are known for. It wasn't pretty. And then she ends up at this guest house. It's like drowning in flowers, so much floral decor.
It's all very overwhelming. It's like the town itself is trying to throw her off balance.
It definitely has that unsettling vibe.
And eventually, Cassie and Melanie, they run into each other. And Cassie's explanation for Travis's disappearance, well, let's just say it involves a lot of vague hand-waving and claims that he probably just got lost in the woods.
Lost in the woods, huh?
Yeah.
That's what the cops are saying, at least. But there's definitely more to it.
Oh, yeah, Cassie is totally holding back information. Like, she doesn't want Melanie to know the truth about Lake Argen.
He's trying to protect the town, protect its secrets.
Exactly. And we finally get some more details about the four and their connection to the dark.
They describe themselves as a conduit, a mouth, ears for the dark. It sounds pretty intense.
It does. Like, they're not just dealing with the dark, they're communicating with it. It's representatives on Earth.
And it sounds like the dark can also give them direct commands, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, not exactly a relationship built on equality. But then Cassie tells Melanie about the town's history, and things start to make a little more sense.
Okay, history lesson time. So it turns out the founders of Lake Argen made this pact with the dark.
A deal with the devil, basically.
Kinda, yeah. They sacrificed something to the dark, and in return, they got silver and protection.
Which explains why the town's silver mine has been running nonstop since 1831.
Yeah, the mine is like supernaturally productive thanks to the dark. It's the backbone of the town's economy.
And just when you think you're starting to understand things, Cassie mentions Alice, who seems to be some kind of entity that lives in the lake.
Another piece of the supernatural puzzle. It's like every time you think you've got a handle on Lake Argen, something else pops up.
Exactly. Melanie, of course, is having a hard time believing any of this. She basically calls Cassie out, saying it's all a bunch of bullshit.
Which, to be fair, is a totally understandable reaction. If someone told me my town was secretly run by a primordial force and had a monster in the lake, I'd probably say the same thing.
Right. But that's what makes the story so compelling. It's this clash between belief and disbelief, between the ordinary and the extraordinary.
And as the story goes on, things really start to ramp up. There are these ominous shadows creeping in, and there's this sense that the agreement with the dark is breaking down.
It's like the town is on the verge of collapse.
Yeah, it's getting intense. And then, to make matters worse, Travis Brayden comes back.
Wait, he comes back. I thought he was gone.
He does, but he's not the same. He's been changed by the dark, transformed into something, well, not exactly human anymore.
Oh no, that's not good.
Nope, not good at all. So now the town has to deal with this new threat, this former human who's become something else entirely.
And it's awesome to see how everyone comes together to fight back, like even the teenagers get involved.
Right. It's a real community effort. Everyone's got a role to play in protecting Lake Argen. And Melanie, despite her initial skepticism, finds herself right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, she can't deny the supernatural anymore. It's right there in front of her face.
And she ends up playing a key role in helping the town survive.
It's pretty epic. Okay, so spoiler alert, they do manage to deal with Travis, but...
But the story doesn't really end there.
Right. The whole relationship between Lake Argen and the dark is still up in the air. Plus, there are these lingering consequences from Travis's actions that they have to deal with.
And we find out some surprising things about Melanie's own family history, which kind of ties her to Lake Argen in a whole new way.
It's like she's not just an outsider anymore. She's become part of the story, part of the town.
In a way, yeah. Direct Descendant really leaves you thinking about the long-term consequences of the choices people make and how our actions can ripple out in unexpected ways.
It's a thought-provoking read for sure.
Totally.
Well, folks, that was our deep dive into the strange and captivating world of Direct Descendant. If you're a fan of urban fantasy, mystery, or just stories that make you question what's real, you definitely need to check this one out.
Absolutely. We'll put a link to the book on Amazon in the description so you can grab a copy for yourself.
And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more discussions like this one.
We love sharing these stories with you, and we're always excited to hear your thoughts.
So tell us in the comments. What was your favorite moment from Direct Descendant? What surprised you the most?
And here's something to think about. If you lived in a town with secrets like Lake Argen, would you want to know the truth?
Or would you rather stay blissfully ignorant?
Let us know what you think.
Until next time.
Bye.